Hi ladies and gentlemen, if starting with a softball amount of clay seems a little bit overwhelming, you can start with a smaller amount. This is somewhere between golf ball and baseball. So I'm going to stick my thumb in there and go around and start compressing. So you can see I made the initial compression there. And whenever I'm doing compression on a pinch pot on the wall, I definitely want my opposite hand on the outside so I can feel, like when I press down here, I can feel. Up here, I'm going like this, and I'm feeling the thickness and compressing and trying to even it out. As you can see, it's starting to get a little bit bigger. Now I can smush the wall up like this. I can also do that from the inside. Grab clay down towards the bottom and pull it up to make this thicker at the top. Even out the wall at the bottom. There we go. And I'm kind of grabbing the clay and smushing it up a little bit. It's a little bit thicker at the top, so I'm just gonna even that out some. Then I like to go back and using a finger, feel across a larger area for bumps or uneven areas and even them out. Like that. So you can see I've got a decent sized pinch pot here. Now, if I wanted to get it higher, one way I can do that is using coils, which is what I'm going to show in this video today, how to add some coils to this to get this smaller pinch pot larger. Because I prefer a pinch pot about this size, which is pretty big, the one I made with the softball amount of clay, but that can be a challenge for some folks. So I was trying to get you guys perhaps a different way you could do it that might be a little bit easier. So here's the beginning of a pinch pot. Now what I'm going to do is take some more clay and roll it between my hands. And as I'm doing that, it kind of gets flattened on two sides and taller the other way. You want to try and even that out. I can roll it on my desk. And as I'm rolling it, I spread out. I spread my hands out. So I'm going back and forth. I'm compressing down, but I'm also pulling my hands this way. So I'm putting pressure to pull, to stretch this out, and to condense or compress down. Sometimes it can help to pick it up and set it down and then press and roll and do that again and again so that you don't just go back and forth. So it's not always seeing the same part of your hand as it goes back and forth, because then it can get all wonky and not very cylindrical. You can also smooth it like that. It's gonna go a bit more here. I think this might be about big enough. That's looking pretty good. I bet by the time I compress that down. So I'm gonna add that on there. And I just keep dipping this pointer in the water and going across the top here to score like this, so that it gets nice and muddy as I'm doing this, and do little indentations in multiple directions. that's all looking good. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the top of this coil, but I'm also going to do it on the ends, because these ends are going to come together. So I want them to be able to stay together. And then I'll go across the top here. Okay, there we go. So, pick up this coil and place it on top. And then I'm going to compress down. I'm going around and I'm holding the vessel below with my finger and thumb, and then pressing down on the coil from above with my other hand. Put some pressure on there. And I started in the middle. I'm going to come back to the middle and do that again, going back. I'm also compressing on this coil. I was smushing it a bit so that it would stretch together and meet. So at first it's still kind of rounded. You can see where it's met together. And now I want to continue smushing together on the coil, and it's gonna raise up a bit. And I don't want it going out. I want it coming straight up. So as I'm compressing, I'm actually kind of pulling it towards the middle to compensate, because it wants to try to go out. It wants to try to expand out instead of up. So at this point, I've smushed the coil, and you can see it's taller than it was. It's about the same thickness now as the pinch pot below it. And then I can just smooth this together. You can see some slip has come out as I've been compressing, and I just go back and forth across this little seam, and I want to clean that up and make it like it was never there. So I'm just going to keep going around and around. A lot of ceramics is just going around and around. Okay, and then the light goes out. You just keep doing that. You keep adding coils till you get it as high as you want. It does look like it came out some, so I might like kind of smush it in a little, going around, trying to get the walls, instead of going out like that, to come more straight up. And so it's already, you know, significantly taller than it was before. And if you're having problems with the clay you have, come get more clay. We have plenty of clay in the front office. Anyway, you would just keep going like that, keep adding. If your rim gets a little too thin while it's still pretty moist, you can kind of tap it down to flatten it out before you add another coil. And you just keep going until you get a big enough piece. Like, I would add at least 2 or 3 more coils to get this a bit taller for this assignment, but that's one way you could do this. This piece still needs more work, but I am gonna end the video here. As always, if you have questions, you can always ask, email, put something in the stream in Google Classroom, or put something on the assignment, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.